You blink, and Hollywood is already dominated by a massive new event. The whole world was anxious to see Jaffer Jackson bring the King of Pop to life in the biopic directed by Antoine Fuqua. But there's a bizarre and obscure chapter of this story that the movie will likely never tell you. A behind-the-scenes secret that sounds like it came straight out of a comic book. What if I told you that long before the MCU existed, Michael Jackson tried to buy all of Marvel with one single goal? He wanted to be Spider-Man. Before I show you how this crazy deal almost went down, go ahead and subscribe to Comic Chronicles and hit that like button if you're a fan of the behind-the-scenes stories that nobody tells you. Part 1. Marvel's 90s Crisis. To understand how this madness almost became a reality, we need to go back in time to the 1990s. The Marvel that rakes in billions today didn't exist back then. At that time, the publisher was on the brink of total collapse, facing a terrible financial crisis that culminated in an official bankruptcy filing in 1996. The company was losing its luster. Stocks plummeted, comics weren't selling, and even the cartoons were losing steam. Marvel needed a miracle, or a billionaire investor. To give you an idea of the desperation at the time, Marvel was selling off the rights to its characters for pennies on the dollar to any studio that would listen. This was the era when the X-Men went to Fox, and the Fantastic Four followed suit. Spider-Man himself was trapped in a legal limbo between MGM and Columbia. Now, imagine Michael Jackson walking into that boardroom. On one side, you have executives in suits trying to scrape together every last cent to save the company. And on the other, you have the biggest star on the planet with a blank checkbook. The visual contrast alone is mind-blowing. Back then, almost nobody believed superhero movies could be gold mines, except for Michael. He was a visionary in that sense, whether you like the idea of him as Peter Parker or not. And speaking of classics from that era, I've picked out some iconic 90s Spider-Man issues that you can check out below through the product button or the Amazon link in the description. It's your chance to own a piece of this history on your shelf. Part 2. The King of Pop's Plan. That's when Michael Jackson saw a golden opportunity. But his goal wasn't just to make a big business deal. The King of Pop specifically wanted to play Peter Parker. Around the same time, director James Cameron was involved in a script for a web-slinger movie. Michael wanted absolute control. First, he tried to buy just the rights to the character. When Marvel said Spidey wasn't for sale individually, Michael didn't back down. He was categorical. Then I'll buy the whole company.
Part 3. Confirmation from Stan Lee and the family.
And hold on, if you think this is just an internet rumor, get ready, because the story is confirmed by those who were actually there. This plan was discussed right inside the Jackson family home. The singer's nephew, Taj Jackson, confirmed in an interview that his uncle knew everything about Marvel and sat down to negotiate directly with Stan Lee. In his nephew's words, Michael was determined to work with Stan and probably wanted to be Spider-Man. Stan Lee himself confirmed the negotiations. He believed Michael's fascination came from a personal identification. Both were isolated and misunderstood public figures. Michael saw himself reflected in the hero who lived a double life, a side the public judged, and a private life full of pain behind the mask.
Many people wonder, did Stan Lee actually take this seriously? Well, in an interview with Movie Line, Stan stated that Michael was a genuine fan. He didn't just want to be the owner, he wanted to be a creator. They even discussed the possibility of Michael playing Professor Xavier if the Spider-Man deal didn't work out. Can you imagine the King of Pop leading the X-Men? Stan Lee went on to say that he thought Michael would have made a good Peter Parker, but the real hurdle was corporate logistics. Marvel's legal situation was such a mess that even Stan Lee couldn't guarantee that if Michael bought the company, he would actually have the legal right to cast himself in the movie. Plus, that James Cameron script I mentioned earlier was much darker and grittier than Michael's whimsical style, which likely would have led to a massive creative clash.
Quick pause. If you were the owner of a bankrupt Marvel in 1996, would you have taken Michael Jackson's money? Let me know in the comments with a yes or no before I tell you exactly why the lawyers ended up blocking everything.
Can you imagine a shelf with Michael and Spidey side by side? I've tagged some of the most detailed web-slinger figures I could find here in the YouTube shopping section. Take a look, because these collectibles sell out fast. Can you imagine Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk on top of a New York skyscraper in a skin-tight suit? Yeah, as weird as it sounds today, in his head, it made perfect sense. Part 4. The End of the Deal and the Rise of Tobey Maguire. In the end, the bold plan never materialized. According to Taj Jackson, at a certain point, the parties were blocked. The exact reason the deal fell through was never 100% revealed, but time showed that Marvel made the right call by holding their ground. The studio survived, the Sam Raimi trilogy was a massive hit, and the path to Disney was paved. When the movie premiered in 2002, the role went to Tobey Maguire, who was 26 at the time. Michael was already in his 40s. Michael never swung through the webs, but the irony now is fantastic. The man who tried to buy the world's greatest hero to immortalize himself on screen will now be the superhero of his own blockbuster in theaters. His movie will compete at the box office against the same publisher he almost bought. It's crazy to think about, right?
Let's do a quick thought experiment. If Michael Jackson had successfully bought Marvel in 1996, the MCU we know today probably wouldn't exist. Marvel might have turned into an extension of Neverland. We'd likely have soundtracks composed by him, and perhaps the focus wouldn't have been a shared universe, but rather high-concept performative films. Another detail, Michael was 5'9", which is very close to Peter Parker's height in the comics. However, by 1999, he was already 40 years old. Would the audience have accepted an older, more eccentric Peter Parker? Or would he have changed the hero's origin story to fit his own persona? It's a question that still divides fans today.
The most curious part is that Michael's hunger for superheroes didn't stop with Marvel. There are reports that he tried to negotiate with Warner Brothers to play the Riddler in Batman Forever. He was desperate to leave his mark on the genre that now dominates the world. He saw in heroes the same thing he saw in music, a way to escape reality. When the Marvel deal finally fell through, Taj Jackson mentioned that his uncle was genuinely disappointed, as he felt he was the only person who truly understood the soul of Spider-Man at that moment.
But now I want to hear from you. Would you have liked to see the King of Pop as Peter Parker? Or do you prefer Tobey Maguire? Honestly, I love Michael, but I think Tobey was born for the role. Comment down below. I want to read your opinions. And don't forget to check out the items I picked for you in the description. Those Amazon links really help the channel keep bringing you these curiosities. And if you've made it this far, it's because you love these wild behind-the-scenes stories of pop culture. So don't forget, smash that like button so I know you want more videos like this. And if you're not part of our community yet, subscribe to Comic Chronicles right now. Turn on the bell, because here we explore every detail of the comic book and movie multiverse that you won't find anywhere else. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next video.